He is the creator. He possesses life.
Is he loving?
He possesses.
Is he loving?
He is loving. All loving.
Okay.
All loving. So now we
That's
realize. Now we realize these attributes are not separate gods. They qualify the same God as we are describing. So we say God is described in his names and attributes. So attributive names, asma and as-sifat. His attribute and his names. These attributes and names are not many other gods. It's a description and the qualifiers of the same God.
Okay.
So now let's go back to the same question about, I'm not finished yet. Jason.
That's not fair.
The Father, which you said
it's
is
not
one
fair,
of the
bro.
three. I'll ask you this question, Jason.
No, you're not fair.
Is
I
the
asked you a
Father-
question.
Can you answer the same question I asked? No, a different question.
No, be honest.
Is the Father, then you can
Bro,
ask.
it's not being fair. It's not being
Is
fair.
the Father
It's all
dependent?
one way.
Is the Father
You
dependent
won't
on the
let
Son
me challenge
and
him.
the Holy
You
Spirit?
won't let me challenge
Can
you.
you answer that
no,
first?
let me challenge you now.
No, before you challenge me,
I've asked
Jason,
you about essence and attributes.
Jason, hear
and
me out.
what you said was pathetic. It was pathetic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're entitled to your pathetic
Let me
opinion.
explain. Let me explain to you. Let me
Sorry.
explain to you. Are the attributes
Yeah.
dependent of the essence, part of the essence, or independent of the essence?
The attribute describes
Because
the essence.
what I'm saying now, right, in Islam, early in Islam theology, they had a trouble in describing the oneness of God right at the beginning, because they had to borrow attributes from the Christians to describe their God.
You are talking nonsense.
No, I'm not. This is in your early scholarship. Yeah?
Which one?
I've got it all here, down here.
Yeah, go on, bring it out, bring it out.
I've got it all
No,
here.
bring it out.
Trust him.
No, I don't trust it. Bring it out.
If you go on Christian Think Tank, we can
Go
get
on, bring it out.
You know, we
can
trust
get
him.
it.
What
No,
you're
I have
saying,
time.
you study
Go on,
it.
I will listen. Bring it out.
An example, you know, Muslim metaphysician.
No,
Muslim
bring it
metaphysician.
out what you just said.
If you go on there, the professor
No, I'm
there,
not
the
interested
professor
in
there,
that. Bring it out.
Kalim the professor is a professor in Islam philosophy.
Who?
It's called Kalim. He debated Muslim metaphysician.
I have no idea who Kalim is.
Yeah. Well,
You
he's
said-
a professor. I've given him a quote there. Go listen to
No,
the
I'm not going to
Muslim
listen to anyone.
No, I've given you, the
said
evidence.
early Muslims.
Yeah, it's on there. You can
No,
go
no,
and
no,
listen
you tell
to
me
it.
now.
It's got all the data.
No, you tell
Don't
me now
be
which
scared.
one.
Don't be scared, right?
Jason,
Right.
when you're discussing with me,
So-
you're not going to say what you're
So now
discussing
he's
what you
hiding.
had with this
now
brother.
He's hiding. Now you're hiding.
No, wait.
I've given you data.
Jason,
I've given you evidence.
Jason, you have not given
now
me
you
anything.
can go to it.
You have been giving me
It
some
gives you-
X, Y, and Z debate somewhere there. That's not how it's called. Scholarship.
Right, listen.
Get me something from early Muslim scholarship in which they borrowed it from the Christian theology.
I've told you, you can either go to Christian
No, I'm
Think
not going to
Tank.
go anywhere. You tell me. Go and
I
bring it
haven't
out.
got the internet there, but I
Fact
think.
two. Bring your
Yeah,
evidence.
now you just-
Fa'tu burhanakum in kuntum sadiqin. Bring
Have
your
you got
evidence.
your
You
phone?
speak
Have
the
you got
truth.
your phone there?
Yeah, go on.
Just
What-
Google
as
Christian
you're
Think Tank.
Googling, let me ask you this
No,
question.
let me finish.
No.
I've not finished
No,
the
no.
point.
I'm not going to allow you. I'm not going to allow you to
right,
waffle.
you're not gonna. No, you're waffling.
I'm not
Because
waffling.
you don't even know your own history of philosophy.
Oh yeah, now you're going to tell me what
It
you.
doesn't- you
You're
don't
going to
even know-
impose your ignorance
You
on
don't
me,
even
right?
know your own
Okay.
history of philosophy in Islam.
Answer this question, Jason. Then I will move on. Is the Father dependent on
how
the
he's
Son and the Holy
nervous.
Spirit?
See how he's nervous. He's nervous. I'm
Jason,
not nervous.
okay.
I know I can beat you at this
Is
debate.
the Father dependent on the Son or the Holy
I can
Spirit?
beat this guy at debate because I know what I'm talking
Go on,
about.
tell me.
So listen, right?
Did you hear my question?
Answer my question.
No. Did you hear my question?
Answer my question. If he doesn't
I
answer
stopped
this,
listening now because
Okay.
you've lost me.
Do you know why you are lost?
Philosophy.
Because you have not got Islam in your heart.
I'm a simple man.
You
I know-
need Islam
I know
and you will
Jesus
be-
is.
the guy
You will be
has
found.
been outwitted.
Because you're lost.
He can't take it. He can't
Christianity.
take it. The blood of
Christianity.
Jesus.
God's love.
You'll be found in Islam.
God's
Yeah?
love.
Come
God's
back to
love.
Islam.
Come back
Bro,
to Jesus.
No, come on, let's go.
Who is Jesus?
No, let's go. He doesn't want to know. He
Who is
doesn't wanna
Jesus?
know. He won't debate me, you see.
Jason, are you going
You
to
won't
answer the
debate
question?
me.
Are you going to answer the question?
I'm trying to ask you, but you won't answer.
No. The discussion was
it's-
about is
no,
the Father
it's all
dependent on the
dependent
Son
on you.
or the Holy Spirit.
If you've got the truth, you can have a debate.
Jason and you both have a habit of touching people. Stop touching people.
If you hug,
Stop touching people.
hug me, bro.
No,
Hug me.
stop touching people.
Hug me.
No, stop touching people.
Hug me, bro.
Right? I know you have some gay tendencies, but stop.
Haram.
Yeah, exactly.
No respect there when you say stuff like that, brother.
Sorry?
There's
We
no
have
respect
gay
there, bro.
tendencies because we shake hands.
No, not shaking hands. You weren't shaking hands. You're touching
We
people.
did that.
So
That wasn't what you did.
the problem is,
Friends do that.
yeah,
Can
the
I-
problem is, in Islamic theology, you have essence and attributes, and he's scared. He can't deal with it. If there are attributes, that means there's parts of God, which means there can be Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, and he's dead. He can't cope with it.
He's
And then you have anthropomorphic language. God has hands, God has feet, right? But then he says, God is nothing like his creation. Oh, he's got hands and feet, but he's nothing like his creation. So you don't even know anything about your God because he's nothing like creation, bro.
Are you debating yourself?
No, but you can't debate. You can't take it.
So,
I'm hitting you with stuff and you can't deal with it,
first
bro.
question as you came.
You're dead
Are
in the
you going
water,
to answer
bro.
or are you going to waffle?
Mansur, you're dead. You're
you gonna
dead.
answer or
Come
you
on,
gonna
let's go.
waffle?
You're dead. Your main debater's dead. He can't deal with it. Come on, let's go.
Yeah. Praise
You're
your
dead,
God.
Mansur.
He won debating against himself.
He's dead.
Why not answering his question?
Let's go. Let's go.
See you later.
You're finished. You're finished, bro. God bless you.
No. That's supposed to be
God's given
Essence-
hijab telling you you're
Essence,
done. You're
attributes.
done.
Essence, attributes. You don't know your philosophy of Islam.
You do, yeah?
Yeah.
So,
yeah. I
did
studied
Jason-
it last night.
The person
And the
that
night before, and the night before,
The
I did
person-
40 hours of study on it.
Oh, yes.
Ready for you.
Yes.
Ready just
he
for
was
you.
debating Jason.
Muslim metaphysician. Muslim metaphysician. I can't pronounce his
You know what?
name.
You know what?
At the debate.
Get a break.
I get
Go
it.
for a
God
break.
bless you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know what?
In the translation,
Is that?
which is Quranic.
Who's is that?
Oh, it's so you need that guy. He's looking at some
Let's,
SC guy.
let's take it.
It's dependent on someone else. It's nonsense. How can you believe in a God that depends on someone else? So the first
Yeah,
gentleman.
Jason's yeah.
Want me to move today?
Yeah, go to him. Yeah.
Because he knows.
The topic was essence and attributes. He couldn't answer it.
You're not talking to...
He stopped. He stopped. Yeah. See, I've been studying for hours Islamic philosophy, and they have a trouble. They had trouble at the beginning. They didn't have a concept of God, right? And they started to. The only thing they started to debate is caliphs, why they have authority, and then they took the language where it says God has feet. They started using language literally, and so they were thinking. He even said God had a body in early Islamic theology, right? And then when they debated Christians, they realized this is not good. So then they borrowed the idea of attributes and put it onto the oneness. But if you say there's attributes, what do you mean? Is it dependent of the essence, part of the essence? But once you talk about attributes, you're talking parts of God. So we can talk about Father, Son, Holy Spirit, part of the essence. Yeah.
I get that.
And do you see? He ran from it.
They won't listen to that. It's revelation to these guys. We can argue so much and then just leave it so.
It's still
Just
recording.
present your case.
Oh, it's still recording, yeah. So that's what it's all about. So what it's all about in the history of Islam, you go onto Christian think tank and you can find an article under his Trinity on the history of Islamic discussion on Tawheed, on the oneness of God. Right at the beginning, Muslims did not have a concept of the oneness of God. They started to argue about the caliphs, who has authority. Then they used the Quran literally. Then they had problems because it said Allah has hands and feet. So some of the imams and theologians said God has a body. Then they realized this is a mistake. Then they started to debate Christians and they borrowed the attributes of God from the Christians and put it into their theology. And so the problem is, if you have got a problem with the Trinity, if you say God has attributes, that he has love, joy, peace, that's parts of the essence. So all we're saying is Father, Son and Holy Spirit is part of the essence of God. So why you've got to beef with us? And the other problem is Allah on his throne? If he's on his throne, okay, and where is the lower heaven? It's under the throne. And yet it says in a hadith that Allah comes down every night and visits the lower heavens. He descends. Now if he descends, that's clearly stating that Allah has a body. Because how can he descend? If his throne is above the heavens and he's descending every night to the heavens, he says descend. What does descend mean? It means descend. It means move. Also it says that Allah breathed. That's breathe, and it constantly says breathe. As the idea that Allah has a body.